All right, let's unlock that inner charisma. We're going deep into how to develop a magnetic personality today. And this isn't about tricks or, becoming some slick salesperson. It's about that genuine confidence and positive energy that draws people in. Like those people you just instantly feel good being around. We're going to figure out what makes them tick.
It's fascinating how the source breaks charisma down into steps. It's not some vague quality you're born with.
Right. And it gets into some really cool stuff like the power of body language, the 30-second rule for a killer first impression, even how to make brief encounters memorable. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what exactly is a magnetic personality, according to the
You
source?
know, it lists some traits we all recognize: confidence, authenticity, positive energy, strong communication, empathy. But think about it. Why are these traits so magnetic?
Okay, good question. I mean, confidence is attractive, sure, but it's got to be genuine, right? No one likes a braggart.
Exactly. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's more like um, a quiet strength, a sense of self-assurance that makes others feel comfortable and at ease. And authenticity plays into that. People can spot a fake a mile away.
So, how do you project authenticity without feeling like you're putting on a show? This source dives into 5 steps to build magnetism. And the first one is all about self confidence. But isn't that a catch 22? If you don't already feel confident, how can you project it?
That's where the practical tips come in. Instead of just saying, be more confident, the source gives you concrete things to work on, like identifying your strengths, even the ones you might take for granted.
Oh, interesting. So, instead of dwelling on what you're not good at, you focus on what you are good at.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just recognizing your strengths. It's about showcasing them subtly in your interactions. Not bragging, but letting them shine through naturally. For example, if you're great at problem solving, maybe you offer a helpful suggestion when someone's venting about work.
That makes sense. Instead of saying, I'm a great problem solver, you're demonstrating it in a way that helps someone else.
And that ties into another point the source makes: improving your body language. It sounds simple, but things like standing tall, making eye contact, even just smiling more, can have a huge impact on how confident you appear, and in turn, how confident you feel.
I've heard that before about how our body language can actually influence our mindset. Like if you force yourself to smile, you might actually start feeling happier. But what about that voice in your head that's constantly putting you down?
The source tackles that too. It encourages replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations. Instead of saying, I can't do this, you practice saying, I am capable and resourceful. It might feel a little weird at first, but over time it can actually rewire your brain to focus on the positive.
So it's like you're training your inner critic to become your inner cheerleader. But let's be real, how much of a difference does this really make? I mean, does simply thinking more positively change how other people perceive you?
Well, think about it this way. When you feel good about yourself, you tend to act differently. You're more likely to take risks, engage in conversations, and generally put yourself out there. And that energy is contagious.
Okay, so it's not just about faking it till you make it. It's about taking concrete steps to build genuine confidence that radiates outwards.
Exactly. And, there are tons of stories about people who transform their lives just by shifting their mindset and projecting more confidence. So building that solid foundation of self-belief is crucial. But what happens once you've got that confidence? How do you actually communicate it effectively?
That's a great segue. Because step 2 in this magnetism journey is mastering communication. And this source goes beyond just saying, be a good listener. It gives specific techniques for really connecting with people.
Right. It emphasizes active listening, which goes way beyond just nodding your head where someone's talking. It's about being truly present in the conversation, asking thoughtful questions, and reflecting back what you're hearing to make sure you understand.
So it's like you're showing the other person that you're not just waiting for your turn to talk. You're actually invested in what they have to say.
Precisely. And think about how that makes you feel when someone truly listens. You feel seen, heard, and valued. And that's a huge part of what makes someone magnetic, that ability to make others feel like they matter.
It's like you're building a connection instead of just having a conversation. But this source also talks about the power of storytelling, which seems kind of surprising. What does that have to do with charisma?
Well, stories are how we connect on a deeper level. They allow us to share our experiences, emotions, and values in a way that's relatable and engaging.
So it's not just about spitting out facts and figures, it's about sharing something personal that resonates.
Exactly. Think about it when someone tells you a story that truly touches you. You're more likely to remember them, right? And you probably feel a stronger connection.
For sure. But what about those times when you need to get your point across quickly and clearly, like in a work meeting or when you're explaining something complex.
That's where the source emphasizes speaking with clarity and purpose. It's about being concise, getting to the point, and avoiding unnecessary rambling.
So even if you're not telling a story, you're still being engaging and easy to follow.
Exactly. People are more drawn to someone who can articulate their thoughts
Yeah.
in a clear and compelling way. It builds trust and prevents misunderstandings.
Okay, so we've got confidence and communication down. What's the next ingredient in this magnetic personality recipe?
Get ready for some good vibes, because we're moving on to cultivating positive energy.
All right, I'm feeling optimistic already, but seriously, how do you actually cultivate positivity? Is it just about plastering on a fake smile and pretending everything's awesome?
Definitely not. This source is all about tangible steps you can take to shift your energy. It talks about practicing gratitude, which is way more than just saying thank you. It's about actively focusing on the good things in your life, even the small stuff.
So it's like
Yeah.
training your brain to look for the silver linings instead of dwelling on the negatives.
Exactly. And the source also encourages actively challenging negative thoughts. We all have those inner critics, but it's about recognizing when those thoughts are irrational and
Uh-huh.
choosing to focus on more empowering beliefs.
It's like instead of letting those negative thoughts run wild, you're taking control and saying, nope, not today.
And lastly, it emphasizes approaching life with enthusiasm. That doesn't mean you have to be bouncing off the walls all the time, but it's about finding joy in the little things and letting that shine through in your interactions.
I can see how that would make you more magnetic. People are drawn to positivity. It's like a beacon in a sometimes dreary world. But is it really that simple? Does simply thinking more positively actually change your outward energy?
Think about it this way. Have you ever been around someone who's just radiating negativity? It's drainingly, right? It's like they suck the energy out of the room. Well, the opposite is true with positivity.
Oh, totally. It's like you can actually feel the difference when someone's genuinely positive. It makes you want to be around them more.
Exactly. We're constantly sending and receiving energy cues, whether we realize it or not. So when you're radiating positivity, it makes you more approachable and magnetic.
Okay, so we've got confidence, communication, positive energy. This is amazing. But I'm guessing there's more to this magnetism puzzle, right?
You bet. We're only 3 steps in. And up next is a big one, emotional intelligence, or EQ.
Ooh, EQ. I've heard a lot about this, but to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what it means. Can you break it down for us?
Absolutely. The source does a great job of explaining the different components of EQ, starting with self-regulation.
Okay, so what does self-regulation have to do with charisma?
Well, imagine you're in a tense situation, like a high-stakes presentation or a difficult conversation. Someone with high EQ, and particularly high self-regulation, is able to stay calm and composed under pressure.
So they're not freaking out even when things get tough.
Exactly. And that calm demeanor makes them more approachable and trustworthy. People are naturally drawn to those who can handle challenging situations with grace.
That makes sense. It's like if someone's panicking, it makes you panic too. But if they're staying cool, it helps you stay cool as well.
Precisely. And then there's empathy, another crucial element of EQ. This is all about understanding and relating to other people's emotions, even if you haven't experienced those emotions yourself.
So it's like putting yourself in someone else's shoes and trying to see the world from their perspective.
Exactly. And when you do that, you connect with people on a much deeper level. They feel truly seen and heard, which, as we talked about earlier, is a key element of magnetism.
Okay, so self-regulation helps you stay calm. Empathy helps you connect. What's the third component of EQ?
That would be social awareness, which is all about understanding social dynamics and reading the room. It's like having a sixth sense for what's going on in a social situation.
So someone with high social awareness can pick up on subtle cues and adjust their behavior accordingly.
Exactly. They can sense when someone's feeling uncomfortable, when a joke isn't landing, or when it's time to change the subject. And that sensitivity makes them incredibly adept at navigating different social situations.
Wow, it sounds like EQ is a superpower when it comes to building charisma.
It really is. And what's so great about the source is that it connects this concept of EQ to real-world applications.
Right. It's not just some abstract theory. It's about how these skills can help you achieve your goals.
Exactly. It challenges you to think about how developing your EQ can make you a better communicator, a more empathetic friend, a stronger leader, and ultimately a more magnetic person.
This is so insightful. We've covered so much ground already. From confidence to communication to positive energy and now EQ, it's like we're building a charisma powerhouse.
We are. But hold on to your hats, because we've still got one more piece of the puzzle to uncover. And trust me, This one's a game changer.
Ooh, I can't wait. What's the final step in this magnetism journey?
It's all about finding and following your passion.
Passion. Okay, I can already feel the energy shifting. But why is passion so closely linked to magnetism?
Think about those people you just naturally gravitate towards, the ones who light up a room without even trying. Aren't they often the ones who are genuinely excited about something?
You're right. It's like their enthusiasm is contagious. You can't help but get swept up in it. But what if you're not sure what your passion is? Or maybe you feel like you've lost touch with it.
That's exactly what this source addresses.
Yeah.
It challenges you to really dig deep and ask yourself, what lights me up? What makes me lose track of time? It could be anything, from painting to astrophysics to volunteering at an animal shelter.
So it's not just about finding a hobby. It's about tapping into that core energy that makes you feel truly alive.
Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting. The source suggests that by bringing more of that passionate energy into your everyday interactions, you become more magnetic. It's not about pretending to be interested in something you're not, but about letting that inner spark shine through.
So even if you're talking about something mundane, like the weather, you can still infuse it with that genuine enthusiasm.
Exactly. Think about it if you're talking to someone who's clearly bored out of their mind. You're probably going to tune them out, right? But if someone's talking about something they genuinely care about, even if it's something you wouldn't normally find interesting, you're more likely to lean in.
It's like their passion becomes a magnet itself, pulling you into their world. Okay, this is all making sense. But I have to admit, I'm a bit of a hands-on learner. Does this source offer any practical exercises to help put these concepts into action?
It does, and some of them pretty unique. One that stood out to me was the 30-second rule. Have you ever heard of it?
Nope, this is totally new to me. What's the 30-second rule all about?
It's based on the idea that you can make someone feel good about themselves within the first 30 seconds of meeting them. And that sets the tone for a positive interaction. It's not about some cheesy pickup line or showering them with fake compliments. It's about genuine attention.
Okay, so how do you do that? What kind of things can you say or do in those first 30 seconds to make someone feel valued?
It could be something as simple as giving a genuine compliment, but not something generic like, I like your shirt. Notice something specific and meaningful. Maybe it's their energy, their laugh, or a unique piece of jewelry they're wearing.
So it's about really seeing the person
Yeah,
and acknowledging something that makes them stand out.
exactly. And it's not just about words. It could be asking a thoughtful question, actively listening to their response, or even just making strong eye contact and smiling warmly.
It's like you're saying, hey, I see you, and I'm genuinely interested in what you have to say.
Precisely. And those first impressions matter. We make snap judgments about people all the time, often subconsciously.
Yeah.
So by focusing on making someone feel valued right away, you're creating a positive association and setting the stage for a more meaningful connection.
Okay, I'm totally going to try that. It seems so simple yet so powerful. What other exercises does this source recommend?
Another one that caught my eye was the power poses exercise.
Power poses. Okay, that sounds intriguing, but also a little intimidating. What exactly are we talking about here?
It's about the connection between body language and confidence. You know that feeling when you're feeling down and you just slump over making yourself small? Well, the opposite is true as well.
So if you stand up straight and hold your head high, you'll automatically feel more confident.
It's not just about looking confident. It's about actually feeling more confident. And there's actually science to back this up. Studies have shown that holding certain poses, even for just a couple of minutes, can impact our hormone levels and shift our mindset.
Wow, that's amazing. So what kind of poses are we talking about? Give me an example of a power pose.
One classic example is the Wonder Woman pose. You stand with your feet, shoulder width apart, hands on your hips, chest lifted and chin slightly raised. Hold that pose for a minute or two and notice how you feel.
Okay, I'm visualizing it. I have to admit, I already feel a little more powerful. But isn't it a bit strange to be striking these poses in the middle of a conversation?
You don't have to do them in the middle of a conversation. The idea is to practice them before a big event, like a presentation or a job interview, or even just when you need a little confidence boost. You can do them in the privacy of your own home, in the bathroom stall, or even while you're waiting in line at the grocery store. No one has to know what you're doing.
So it's like a secret weapon for boosting your inner confidence. I love it. And the source emphasizes that consistency is key, right?
Absolutely. It's not about doing these exercises once and expecting a magical transformation. It's about making them a regular part of your routine so that you're continuously building that magnetic energy.
It's like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get at it. But what I'm really curious about is what happens when you put all of this together. Confidence, communication, positive energy, EQ, passion. It's like we're creating a charisma powerhouse.
We are, and that's what's so exciting about this source. It gives you a roadmap for unlocking your full potential and becoming the most magnetic version of yourself.
Okay, so we've covered the core traits, the 5 steps, and even some practical exercises. What's next on this deep dive? What other nuggets of wisdom does this source have to offer?
Well, it delves into some really interesting nuances of charisma, like the importance of authenticity
Hmm.
and how to avoid coming across as fake or manipulative. And it also raises some thought-provoking questions about the role of charisma in society.
Ooh, this is getting deep. I can't wait to unpack all of that.
Me too. Let's dive in.
Welcome back. We've been on quite a journey, exploring how to build a magnetic personality. We've talked about confidence communication, even power poses. But one thing that keeps coming up in this source is the importance of authenticity.
Yeah, that's crucial. It's not about trying to become some charismatic superhero you're not. True magnetism comes from embracing who you are, flaws and all.
Right, like I'm picturing someone trying too hard, using all the tricks, but coming off as totally fake. That's the opposite of magnetic.
Exactly. Think of someone you find genuinely charismatic. They probably don't seem like they're trying to be charming. They're just comfortable in their own skin. And that makes them compelling.
So this isn't about putting on a show, it's more about self-discovery, figuring out what makes you unique, and then letting that shine through.
I love that way of putting it. It's about amplifying your strengths, your passions, your quirks even. That's what makes you memorable, not some cookie-cutter version of charisma.
Okay, but let's be real. There are times when we do need to be more intentional about our communication, right? Like in a job interview or when giving a presentation. How do you balance that with being authentic?
That's where the source gets really nuanced. It talks about how intentionality and authenticity aren't mutually exclusive. You can prepare, practice, refine your delivery. But your core message, your values, those should be genuine.
So it's like you're putting your best foot forward, but it's still your foot, not someone else's.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Imagine you're giving a speech. You can practice your delivery, your pacing, even your hand gestures. But if you don't actually believe in what you're saying, the audience will sense it.
That's so true. I've definitely seen those speakers who seem polished,
Yeah.
but lack that spark of genuine conviction.
And that brings us to another important point from the source. Charisma isn't about manipulation. It's not about using these techniques to trick people or to get them to do what you want.
Right, because that would be totally unethical. And honestly, I think people can see through that pretty quickly.
Absolutely. True magnetism is about building genuine connections, fostering trust, and making a positive impact on the world around you.
It's about using your influence for good, not personal gain. But this whole conversation has gotten me thinking, if everyone developed a magnetic personality, what would that even look like? Would it be this amazing utopia of collaboration and understanding? Or would it be more like a charisma competition?
That's a fascinating question. The source doesn't explicitly address that, but it's something to ponder, isn't it? Would it elevate conversations,
Yeah.
inspire new ideas, or could it lead to everyone trying to outshine each other?
It's like, would it be this amazing symphony of charisma? Or more like a chaotic cacophony?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it makes you think about the responsibility that comes with developing these skills. It's not just about personal gain, it's about how you use that influence to contribute to something bigger than yourself.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on charisma.
Me too. And remember, this isn't a destination, it's a journey. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep being your authentic self.
Beautifully said. So to our listeners, what are your thoughts on this? What would a world full of magnetic personalities look like to you? Share your ideas. And in the meantime, go out there and shine.